just says simplify. So let me just write all the problems. Okay, so this one, anything raised to the 0 is 1. So the answer is just 1. Here, I can actually write that up here. This one, we first move it to the bottom, and then we simplify 3 squared, which is going to be 9. So the answer to that one is 1 over 9. Okay, this one I'll do below. So 3 to the 0 is 1 minus, and then 3 to the negative 1 is going to be 1 over 3 because we need to move it down to the bottom. I guess I'll keep it as a 1, 3 to the 1. Now we simplify that, so we have 1 minus 1/3. And then we'll need to get common denominators. So 1 becomes 3/3 minus 1/3. And 3 minus 1 is 2/3. And yep, that one's good. And then this one we need to distribute the -2. So 5 to the -2, 3 to the -2. Now since these are both negative, that means they're on the wrong side. So we're actually going to like flip the fraction upside down. So it's now going to be 3 squared over 5 squared. And then we just need to simplify those. So 3 squared is 9, 5 squared is 25, and that's our answer on that one. Now we're moving on still to example 16. And it says write in simplest form without brackets. -3a squared raised to the 4th and -2a squared over b quantity raised to the 3. Okay, so we just need to simplify this. So we're going to distribute this here and here. And so our first one is -3 quantity to the 4th times a, and then we multiply these together, so 2 times 4 is 8. Now, -3 times -3 times -3 times -3 is going to be a positive, and it ends up being 81, and then a to the 8, so it's just 81a to the 8. Okay, this one, very similar. We distribute the 3, so we get -2 to the 3, a to the 6, b to the 3, because we think of this as having a 1, so it's 3 times 1 is 3. Now -2 times -2 times -2 is going to give us a -8, and then a to the 6, b cubed. Alright, we'll keep moving. This time we're on example 17. Simplify using the laws of exponents. Oops. So that's times 2. So I'm not going to write an X for times because I think it gets confusing with my handwriting, even though the book has it. Alright, I'm having a hard time. There we go. And then the next one is 15t to the 7 over 3t to the 5th. Then we have k squared times k to the 6, and then k cubed, and then squared. Okay, so we need to simplify using the laws of exponents. So we're just going to multiply these together. So we can just multiply the 4 and the 2, we get an 8. And then when we multiply the x's together, we need to add them. And so that's why we get x to the 9th. Right here, these two, we can just divide. 15 divided by 3 is 5. And then the exponent rule is to subtract. So 7 minus 5 is 2. And then this one, we'll have to do a couple steps. The top one, we just add the exponents. So we say k to the 8. The bottom one, we multiply k to the 6. And now we have our subtraction rule. So 8 minus 6 is 2. Okay? Gonna keep moving on. Alright, we still have 3 more examples. So just stick with me. Okay, so 2c cubed raised to the negative 4. And then we have a to the negative 3b squared over c to the negative 1. And this one is example 18. It says write without negative exponents. So we first want to distribute the negative exponent. So we have 2 to the negative 4, and then c to the negative 12. Both those are negative, so we're going to need to put them on the bottom. Alternatively, we could have just moved this entire thing to the bottom. If you like that better, you can do that as the first step. Okay, the c is simplified, but the 2 we need to rewrite. So 2 to the 4, 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 is 16. And we are on the bottom of a fraction. So that's our answer on that one. This one, since the b is positive, has a positive 2 exponent, we keep it on top, but this one's negative, so we need to move the c to the top. This one's negative, so we move the a to the bottom. There's a 1 right there. The 1 is redundant though, so we're just going to write it as b squared c over a cubed. And let's move on to the next one. So we need to write this without fractions. Okay, so the first thing we need to do is recognize that this really can be a negative exponent, or even that the negative exponent rule just means change the sign. So if we change the side of the fraction we're on, we can change the sign on the exponent. So if I want to move this up, I just need to make sure I change the signs right here. So I'm going to get 2 to the negative 1 plus n, and now I'm on top of a fraction. So I technically still have this 1 down here. But to make this look a little bit nicer, I'm going to write it as n minus 1, and I'm going to drop this 1 right here because it's redundant. Okay, so that is example 19. And then we have one more example, example 20. Which has 2 parts. So we have that, and then we have 2x to the 5 plus 2. That is to the negative 2. Okay, so all we need to do is divide everything by x. So we're going to think of this. Let's write in the I'm going to write in the ones we can't see. Okay. Technically, this is like an x to the 0, if we want to think of it that way. So we're just going to subtract. So we have 2 minus 1, so that's just x to the 1. We have x, 1, 1, so that's just x to the 0. 1 minus 1 is 0. 0 minus 1 is 2x to the negative 1. Now we want to simplify this a little bit. So x to the 1, we're just going to write as x. X to the 0 is really just 1. 1 times 3 is 3. And this one is how it needs to be. So that's the answer to that one. This one will go through a similar thing. So there's an imaginary 1 right there. 5 minus a negative 2 is going to make it a 7. 2 minus a negative 2. So I'm doing like 5 minus negative 2. That becomes a plus sign, so it equals 7. This is the same thing. 2 minus a negative 2 is actually positive 4 because this becomes a plus sign. So we get plus x to the 4th. And then 1 minus negative 2 would be x to the 3 because 1 minus negative 2 really is a plus sign, and that becomes a 3. Okay, alright, that was a long video. And if you need additional help, come to Math Lab and Calculator.